NanoBun. Well,
Hi.
welcome to my show. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for
Um,
having me.
so would you like to introduce yourself real quick to my viewers?
That's difficult. Sometimes for me to introduce myself, but I'm NanoBunTV. I do a bunch of bullshit. You've probably seen me somewhere for some reason because whenever people meet me, they're like, "Oh, I know you from somewhere," and then I'm like, "That doesn't help." I do videos, I do streams, I make worlds, I make avatars, I do events, I do Twitter bullshit, I do uh uh, other event stuff. I don't even know. I'm probably forgetting things. I spread myself too thin, but I do a lot of stuff. I mainly stream right now, at least. That's where I'm putting most of my focus.
Right. Awesome. Awesome. So one of the first things I did want to ask you is what initially brought you to VR? When was the moment you're like, I need a VR headset?
So I think it's hard to kind of remember exactly, but I knew of the existence of VR for like quite a long time. But I never really considered getting a headset until I think it was because it was still a pretty young age, so things like FNAF were still interesting to me, and they announced the FNAF VR game. Also, Half-Life Alyx, I think, was announced sometime around there as well. And those two games in particular, even though I'd never played a Half-Life game before, also with the factor of I didn't really know I was going to get into VR chat, but I had watched like GameSky's old VR chat videos, so that's I'm like maybe I'll play that, but I really want to play these games and stuff, and maybe Beat Saber and all those. But it wasn't really just a I absolutely need this. I don't think. I think it was more just a case of this is something really cool that I want. The Vive was only $500 at the time after its like third price decrease. Out of its like four price drops before they discontinued it. So it was a good price, and I kind of just went for it, and then just kind of used it for a while off and on in my living room downstairs, and eventually moved it up here to my room and started actually playing VR chat after I'd say maybe 5 months of using it is when I actually decided to give VR chat a try.
So
But no, never really any specific.
what was your
No,
first
sorry. No
experience
specific anything.
like? Yeah, what was your first experience like when you actually did try VR?
I don't know, because the Vive isn't the highest quality headset. The straps are very uncomfortable. The face gasket is like a sponge. It wasn't super crazy immersive, I don't think, but it's really, I'm having a hard time remembering because that was just like 4 years ago now, 3, 4. I don't remember how long either. Not that it matters all too much, but I think at the time, like it was really really neat. And most people like it's crazy shocking to them, but because of the low resolution of that headset, and also the fact that at the time I was on a really shitty gaming laptop, so the frame rate was really bad. Those two things really took me out of it. If I had a better computer at the time, and if the Vive was like higher resolution, then it probably would have been absolutely like mind blowing. But because it kind of felt like looking through a screen door at 20 FPS as well.
Oh, okay.
It's got a lot of screen door effect. So not the most super immersive like a lot of
Yeah.
people, but it was good enough for me to want to stick around. Which is all that really matters. Whoops. I grabbed the laptop already.
Good. So, what initially? I mean, yeah, what initially inspired you to become like a VTuber and start making videos on YouTube or and start streaming as well?
So, in terms of YouTube, I don't talk about it too much because all those videos are privated, but I started out with, as pretty much mostly everyone does for the most part, which is just at a very young age, like maybe 12 or 13 even, just making Minecraft videos with like little to no editing, playing whatever the fuck you can come across. And it's been past 15 seconds, I can say that word once. Hi YouTube. Don't kill this video, please. Anyways, where was I? Oh yeah. So that kind of continued for a few years, like shitty Minecraft and Fortnite videos at very young ages, and then I kind of as like I'm kind of trying to get off of that and actually make like higher quality videos, is about around the time when I actually got my headset. Well, actually got my headset and started using VR chat, and from there, for the first year of VR chat, and this does tie into the question, I swear. For the first year of VR chat, I was kind of meme avatar creator, say like Lolathon, Cyberchimp, all of them, Darren Zeus, you name it, and it was fun, and I got a lot of experience with Unity because I'd never used it from then, but I had determined that it was fun, and I got a lot of fun reactions out of people over that time, but I wanted to be I kind of wanted to resign from that. I never streamed that anyways. I just did it for fun. I never streamed or made videos of that, but I just did it for fun. And by the end of 2020, which was that year, that 1 year that I did it for, I was like, I kind of just want to step away from this. It's a lot of effort, and I want to move on to actually just like making like having good relationships with friends and just being more of a normal VR chat user, I guess, whatever that means. Just less of the meme avatar stuff. I wasn't really feeling it anymore, even though it was still a lot of good experience, like I said, and it was fun for the time. But also I decided, okay, I'm gonna stop the meme stuff. I'm gonna just settle in with an avatar that I like, and I'm going to start streaming at the very start of the following year. I decided this, I think, in November or December. So then come January, I knew at the start of January, I'm going to start streaming VR chat. And from there, you kind of just either are comfortable with having an avatar represent you the whole time, or you turn on your camera, one or the other. So for me, it was just, I was very comfortable in my avatar, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna have this be what represents me, and then from there, you just kind of accidentally a VTuber. Not like accidentally, but like just whatever the word is, just it kind of happened. But then I grew into it a lot more and then found myself to enjoy the whole VTubing thing instead of having a camera because I tried all of that as well. Those videos are all scrubbed as well, but I tried the whole camera thing too, and I wasn't super big on it, but again, it was nice at the time.
So you really came a long way. Now, so I first became aware of you through Brandon's Def FM documentary when he made The Secret Road, a VR chat. You're only in it briefly, but I just want to ask,
For a few
how,
seconds at the end,
yeah, for a
yeah.
few seconds, like how
Yeah,
was it,
yeah.
just being part of it? Because that's a really big video on YouTube, and like, what are your thoughts on like the documentary itself?
So Brandon FM, I only came to know of him because I came to know of him because he was asking, I think, on the VR Chat subreddit for like people to interview about VR Chat, and I was like, okay, sure, why not? Fun little side thing to do because I've got nothing better at the time. And from there, I have watched a couple of his documentaries on VR Chat stuff, and they are very informative and they're very good deep dives. Although they are talking about very dark things in VR Chat, which is not very comfortable from a lot of people, and also like it hurts for me to hear about all these negative dark things on the platform that I love, but like it is very informative and like it is nice to know to not just be ignorant to the fact that like there are a lot of bad things around here, sometimes more than others, depends on who you hang out with, of course. Yeah, I only got about 5 seconds of me on screen at the very, very last clip in one of those documentaries in my old avatar with my old username. But I didn't play much of a part in that. The reason why only a few seconds of mine made it in was because all the questions that I was asked, I think was asked before he knew the direction of how the documentary was going to go. I think it took a darker turn as he started to interview other people. So I think that's probably why I only got like 5 seconds on that clip was just because like it took a different turn. So like pretty much everything that I was interviewed for there wasn't really like applicable to the new direction of the video, which is fine. I think the new direction was pretty good, and it was really well made, and I thought it was a very good watch.
Yeah, and it also gave you a little bit more of exposure because, like, I only came
A
across your
little bit.
channel because of seeing that video. And I was like, oh, like, I'm gonna go check out these people, like, who are in here and see, like, if they have, anything. And yeah, you did.
It's
So,
surprising because I don't think most people would just like see a 5-second clip and like a 1 hour long video and then go check out a channel. Most people don't do that kind of stuff.
Well, I was just really
Most people
amazed.
just don't care and they go watch a new video.
Yeah, I was just really like amazed, like really it's to me it was so cool like how people would just like make videos in like this whole virtual world. It was new to me at the time and like I wanted to
Yeah,
see like what else, people do in it. So I was just curious on my part.
it's a very interesting medium. Yeah.
So I first met you at Fia's Film Fest, where you submitted your short film, "Paper Please." What inspired you to make
hmm
this short film in VR chat?
So I believe there's a little bit of a reference to where, but nobody ever understands unless I tell them. So good opportunity here. But I'm pretty sure at the time, back in I would say early to mid 2021. Actually, probably like mid to late 2021. I was messing around with that was after I'd made a horror map, an SCP horror map in VR chat, which a lot of people might know me for. PC only, sorry Quest users. Um my condolences to you. Get a link cable, please. Anyways, it's too laggy. So from there, I knew, okay, I'm pretty okay with some udon stuff with the world building thing. I kind of want to make Papers, Please a playable game in VR chat. It's still only a single player experience, but like VR chat's a good framework even for single player games. Albeit it might be a little lonely to play, but I started to work on just the world building aspect of it, like just making the room. Kind of left it half unfinished and then just sat on that and went to go work on other things. And then from there, that was still during a lot of COVID lockdown stuff, and I remember I went to YouTube one day, I saw something about Markiplier being in quarantine while traveling, and he decided to play Papers, Please, and that reminded me, oh yeah, right, this game that I love, it still exists. Oh wait, I have this old project. And then I go back and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna, as I'm watching this Papers, Please video, I'm like, wasn't there a short film that was really good? And I went back and rewatched that again. Because these are all things that I had watched previously, but never until after I had been reminded of it at the time by that Markiplier video, plus had been reminded that, oh yeah, I have this world I kind of built a little bit of. And on top of that, the people at VRCon announced that there was going to be a film festival at VRCon for 2021. So combining all of those things, the announcement of the film festival mainly, and also my reminder of the game existing, and I have this other world that's kind of slightly done. I was like, okay, I'm going to take this world. I'm not going to even bother making it into a game. I'm just going to make it into a film, like, I'm going to make it into the set that they use in the short film. Kind of. It's still, there's a lot of issues that I would go back and edit with the set itself, but I take that, I finish it up, I add all the components I need for the film, so all the passports and anything that I need for that, and just kind of start recording scene by scene all the shots from the film, and it was took a long time, that's for sure. Took quite a while. Because I was doing a scene-for-scene recreation, it is very time-consuming, but at least the framework is all there for me, so I was able to record each clip in the sequential order that they come in, which also made things slightly easier when it came to the post-production and editing and all of that, because all the clips were just in order already, almost. Is there any other questions about that film? Because if not, I want to ramble on for another second about that.
I mean, I was just gonna say, like watching like your short film in VR chat compared to the actual IRL short film. It's really the editing is really good
Yeah.
at what you've done with it, and it like the recreation was just well done. That's all I want to say.
Yeah. It was very nice to try a lot of techniques I hadn't done before. Every single character, I don't really think this is I get the point across that well unless I tell people, and they're usually shocked, and I'm pretty sure you were shocked at the time when I told you as well, is that I play every single character in that film, even when there's 2 or even 3 people on screen. That is a lot of editing magic that I had never tried before, and is the reason why every single camera shot, the cameras are never like moving. all the cameras are completely still shots because the kind of cheaty editing technique I used to be able to have multiple people on screen at the same time that I played all the characters, but of course there's not two of me, so how does that work? There's like kind of cuts in the middle of the footage in places, and I've also blurred the lines so you can't even see where the slice in the middle of the screen is, but that's how there can be multiple characters on screen. But sometimes there's characters that walk in front of others, or there's some kind of overlap. A couple of those scenes were a bit of a nightmare, but other than that it was pretty straightforward.
No,
And
yeah.
approximately 1 nanobun was harmed in the making of that film, as it says in the credits. I want to elaborate on that real quick because
Okay.
it's kind of funny to mention, which is the scene, the explosion.
Mhm.
I did about 50 takes of myself falling on the floor
Oh.
for one character on screen, and then I did another 50 takes for the other character because there's two characters that both need to fall on the floor. That was about me falling on the floor 100 times, and I didn't have a mat on my floor to fall on yet. I only had carpet. Wasn't that painful, but like I was definitely feeling probably a little bit sore the day after. But it was worth it because I think the explosion turned out pretty nice. As well as the editing effects that I again had never used at the time. So but yeah, that's if anybody was ever worrying why 1 nanobun was harmed in the making of that film, that's why.
At first, I didn't know that you meant literally. When you first said that, I was like,
Yes,
"Oh, there was an
literally.
explosion."
Most people probably think it's just a joke that's left in there in the credits. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
actually, that's what I thought.
Mhm.
Moving on. One of my favorite videos that you have done is your Undertale video. It's really funny, and I was wondering, like, what made you decide to play this game on Windows XP, and how frustrating was it to complete it?
So I had never played Undertale yet, and I get a lot of shit from a lot of friends for a lot of things I haven't tried in my life. There's a lot of games I haven't played. There's a lot of movies and TV shows I haven't watched. There's a lot of foods I haven't tried. All of that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, One game that I would always get a lot of shit for not playing yet is Undertale. Despite how much I'm like constantly online, I'd never watched any videos or played Undertale. I knew the Sans fight and all, and like the existence of the characters and a little bit about them, because when you're on the internet enough, you know, internet culture is what it is. But I decided, okay, I'm gonna do a stream where I play Undertale for the first time, but I kind of need something more than this. So I remember I was YouTube recommended feed actually played a huge part into this. I saw a video recommended to me at one point of somebody trying to play Undertale on Windows 2000, which is similar behind the like under the hood to Windows XP. It's just like a year or two earlier. So not too crazy different, but if they could get it working on Windows 2000, I could probably get it working on Windows XP. So I went through a lot of pain trying to get a virtual machine set up, because that's what it was. It was a virtual machine. It's still Windows XP, but for the nerds out there, you know what a virtual machine is. It's like a computer inside a computer. But that doesn't change the fact that it is the operating system. No, like smoke and mirrors about that. But from there, I tried to install a bunch of patches and get a bunch of things, because it's an old operating system. It doesn't have all the components that would just be included with like a copy of Windows 10 to make games run. You need an extra few files here and there sometimes. And from there, the game kind of just worked. It throws an error every time you launch it, but if you click OK, it just worked. And I was able to play through the whole game like that on that system, because I think the game engine that Undertale runs on is compatible with those really old systems, just by the nature of how simple the game engine is. If you try to run a Unity game, I don't even think those work on Windows 7 anymore. Yeah, not a chance.
How long did it take you
Yeah.
to complete and edit the video? Yeah.
So I do a lot of procrastinating, as a lot of people do. But it took me about the span of a month to actually get it from the 12 hours of footage to the, I think, 23-minute video. It took a long time. I employed an editing style, like a way of going about editing the footage that I had only done one other time with another one of my videos, where it was only 4 hours of footage that time, but it worked well. So I employed it here for the 10-hour one, which is a technique that I kind of figured out myself, where I will take the raw footage and I will first do one pass all the way through the footage, cutting out anything that's obviously not going to make it in. So big cuts, very large jumps, sometimes jumps of 10 minutes at a time. 10-minute sections I would just get tossed out entirely. Then I would go back to the start, do a second pass through of a more refined cuts. Not too refined still. I thought it would be refined enough, but no, it was still needed more refining on the third one. But finer cuts, which shorten the video a lot more as well. Just like cutting out beginnings or endings of things, or sometimes little bits in the middle. Then the third pass through, I believe, was, I think that was mainly subtitles, and the very fine cuts, and all the funny aspects of the video. And then I think there was a fourth pass through as well that took, where I added a little bit of music here and there, and also just fine-tuned anything that needed to be fine-tuned. I think maybe an idea or two was tossed in there, but I didn't tone down the amount of editing. If anything, I think the video gets funnier and more highly edited the further you go into it, which usually you should do it the other way around. Should be the most editing near the start, but whatever. But yeah, it's it took a really long time. Unfortunately, the YouTube algorithm didn't pick it up, even though I actually put a lot of time and effort into the title and thumbnail, and also the first minute to try to hook people in. But the algorithm is what it is, but I still consider that video my magnum opus, and I believe it will probably be that for the next couple years, because I've been mainly prioritizing shorts and TikToks and stuff, since those are a lot more discoverable. Especially for bringing people to Twitch is kind of where I'm putting most of my effort right now. That's not to say I don't put effort everywhere else. I spread myself too thin, right? But that's but I'm working on a lot of shorts mainly right now, because that actually brings people into that. So that's why I think that video will stay in my magnum opus for quite a while. Also because it took so long, and the long form content algorithm is just a case of like, you have to get somebody to click on the video. Meanwhile, with shorts, it just gets fed to people. Yeah. But with regular videos, you have to convince someone to click it. And I think if the title and thumbnail combination that I did isn't enough to get people to click on it, then I don't know what will. But I'm still really happy with how the video turned out. It was a fun stream, it was fun to edit, it's fun to watch even now. Because sometimes when you make something, you've watched it over and over and over and over again in the process of making it, but I still enjoy watching the video just because it is actually, like, that good. And I can't really say that for most of my other videos in the past, where, like, usually once I've made it, I've watched it back and again and again enough times where I'm good. I don't really want to see it anymore, but this one is nice, and very happy.
Right. So as someone talking about myself who's been procrastinating on like trying to stream on Twitch, I wanted to ask you, do you have any advice for people who are trying to become VTubers as well?
I see. There's a little bit of kind of two components of this. There's a component that's specific to VTubing, and then there's a component that's specific to any type of content creation online. I'll start with the VTubing specific part, which is there's a lot of VTubers. I don't know if anybody's ever noticed, but there's quite a few. It's kind of a lower barrier to entry to be. I'm gonna lump PNG tuber into that, so that's why I say low barrier to entry. Well, compared to, I grabbed the laptop again, whatever. So there's a lot of VTubers, and if you want to actually like be able to make it, looking at everybody else as well, because I know there's a lot of people who consider content creation kind of stuff, you either need to have popular friends, or you need to have something, you need to bring something to the table that other people don't bring to the table either as often or is completely unique to you, which is difficult given the fact that this is the internet and everybody has kind of done everything, kind of, but like, the whole everyone's done everything already, like, it's kind of true, but it's kind of not. It depends on how you look at it. For me, well, also, it's either you have to have popular friends who are willing to boost you up, but like not actually like you're not trying to use them, because I know there's a lot of cases where people try to just use people for popularity. I've known a lot of people in the past who have done such things, and it's kind of gross, unfortunately. I like having morals, and you should too. I'm not gonna say no, don't have morals. No, have morals, please. Otherwise, it's just gonna eat up at you. I'm not talking from experience on that because I don't want to know what that feels like. But the third thing, friends who can boost you up or bring something new to the table, or just a lot of dedication and being like entertaining slash funny. For that third option, it has to be the combination of both. So for me, I feel like I fit into the third category. Partially the first category. I do have some friends who have pretty high numbers, but mainly, I think I fit into that third category in my mind of like having a lot of time, at least right now, to be able to devote into things, into websites that have discoverability, like YouTube Shorts and TikTok. Because Twitch doesn't have discoverability at all. If you want people to find you, you need the first or the third thing. You need popular friends or people who, or the time and effort to devote into editing your own videos to put on other platforms. Takes a lot of time. Very tempted to procrastinate most of the time. I only got like one short edited the other night when I was supposed to get like 4 done, you know. But it requires so much time and dedication, and this goes to content creation at all. If you want to pursue it as anything more than a hobby, you probably shouldn't unless you absolutely know, okay, I have taken in info from people who have succeeded, from people who have failed, from channels like Harris Heller, who, at Senpai Gaming, who, like, actually gives really good advice on a lot of streaming stuff, and content creation stuff in general, because he's had ups and downs and ups and downs and ups again. And it's good to take in all that information over a span of, like, years. At least that's what I did, and really understand the space. But the space is always changing too, so no piece of anything is really going to hold any merit in, say, a couple of years, because like if you advice from a couple of years ago isn't really applicable now with TikTok and especially YouTube Shorts. Those two are really beneficial for VTubers for sure, as well as really any type of content creation if you know how to use it right, which means not plastering your watermark all over the short. Even though some people like to do that, I don't really agree with that. I don't put my Twitch link in the top right corner of like TikToks and Shorts because I don't really. I don't like that. If someone wants to find you, they're probably going to click on your profile and then click on the link to your Twitch, if they actually care. If they don't care, then it seems like if you just have a watermark there, the way I see it, if I see a watermark on someone's short, I probably won't go to it because, like, they're just trying to use that to get people in. But if maybe there isn't a watermark and it's also, like, funny or entertaining, maybe I'll, like, actually go check them out if that's the case. It feels, like, very self-promo-y with watermarks and stuff. That's why I'm hesitant to use those on anything, really. Because it's a double-edged sword, that's for sure. It makes it much more clear that you are a streamer or you have content on other sites. But then the double-edged sword also being that, like, it seems disingenuous, at least in my mind. If you're marketing towards children, it doesn't matter because children are stupid. But, like, if you're marketing towards any teenagers or adults, they'll know when they're being like marketed to. So it's a very, very careful space, and it's constantly changing. And honestly, I don't know where this space will be in a couple years from now. People keep saying that Twitch is going to drop dead, or like Kick's not going to be a thing. Kick is going to drop dead. They're going to get sued out the waz. They will get sued out of the wazoo sooner rather than later. At the current rate they're going, Twitch I don't see surviving in 7 years from now. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to slow down or stop by any means. I could see YouTube easily overtaking Twitch if they actually cared, but they still don't seem to care. And also, the cost of streaming, server costs are crazy for streaming live video, even more so than just hosting videos that need to be downloaded on demand instantly like YouTube. The only reason why Twitch can survive is that they have a huge discount on Amazon's web servers because they're owned by Amazon. So they have, like, I think a 70-80% discount, and they still struggle financially. So let that sink in. And also with all the bad things that Twitch decides to do, a lot of people they decide to ban, a lot of bad policy decisions, and a lot of stuff like that. It's a very weird space, and that's why I would never recommend anybody to join. To like pursue the content creation space on these platforms that are always subject to change and might screw you over, such as YouTube with their demonetization guidelines in the past and adpocalypse and all of those things. Now things seem to be a little bit better, but like there's always uncertainties. But if I know of somebody who is funny and who actually has the time and I know would probably be able to dedicate time and effort into pursuing this stuff, then I would say, yeah, go for it. But otherwise, it's like a lot of people just jump into it. And if you just want to jump into it as a hobby, like by all means, go for it. Just like, unless you have crazy amounts of time to dedicate, 99% of people who don't have the time to dedicate to it will not make it far. Depending on what your interpretation of making it far means, because that can mean a lot of different things for everybody. But it's just a very interesting space, and if you have a massive amount of time to devote to it, then sure, but you do need a plan B, like a job or something. But if you also just want to do it as a hobby and just do it for fun, by all means go for it. Just don't lower your expectations, because there's so many people that I've met who have such high expectations, myself included at a few points here and there. I'm not afraid to admit that. But you have to lower your expectations in a lot of things in life, and content creation is one of those things where you should have the lowest of expectations. You should expect to make absolutely no money and that it's going to fail, and from there, just be surprised if it doesn't. I feel like that's a good mindset, in my opinion, is to just expect failure, but still work towards success anyways, and if you happen to get the success that you were looking for, then it will feel a lot more rewarding than if you were expecting success from the start, because you should never do that. And then if you somehow miraculously manage to get it, I don't think you're going to get success with the mindset that you will get success. But again, just my opinion. Like, it's... And then when that happens, you'll just be like, oh, okay, I got the success I was expecting. But usually that doesn't happen. Usually people will expect a lot, and then they won't get anywhere, and then they'll get really depressed. And I want to make that clear to as many people as possible, that that mindset is really painful, as somebody who has been in that mindset a few times and then was able to snap out of it, and change as a person and understand that this space is a fucking mess. And if you manage to pull off anything, that is a genuine accomplishment, and you should not let anybody else tell you otherwise. Like, that is an accomplishment and a half, and you should take that. You should cash in that check, and feel good about yourself. That's kind of my advice, really. Just, it's a not the greatest space to do stuff, but if you have a lot of time, or you have friends who are willing to boost you up, but even then, you still need to at least be entertaining.
Yeah.
Or you have a good idea that other people don't do often or at all, then, then go for it. Like, let's say, comparison, Mr. Beast has a lot of money, so he can do a lot of ideas that other people usually can't. Or say, I think there's this one guy who keeps showing up on my recommended feed from time to time, who makes these crazy contraptions, and also has a really funny editing style, and I believe the videos are scripted to an extent in terms of what he says, but they're still really hilarious. I Did a Thing, that's who it is, who just made a video today. I made the world's most powerful pool stick. This guy does some crazy things, like trying to see how many pressure washers does it take to fly, or put a gun on a robot dog. Like, those are really unique ideas. So that's another example of what I mean by if you can bring something new or something that isn't done much to the table. Because most people just say you have to bring something new to the table. No, you can also do something that just is not done as much, but has a market for it. And I wouldn't say be discouraged if you actually have like a good idea, then just, go for it. And if it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out.
Yeah, awesome. I think those are all the questions that I have. I really appreciate you again coming on the show. If you have anything like last things you want to say to the camera.
Yeah. Um, Just hi. You can mainly check me out at twitch.tv/NanoBunTV. I've been having a lot of fun over there recently. It's always a good time. I try to put entertainment over everything else, regardless of whatever game I'm playing or whoever I'm hanging out with. I always try to make it the most entertaining as I can, or your money back. That's a lie. You don't get your money back. Closing words. If you have good ideas, go ahead and do them. Might not always work out for me, but you know, if you got the time and motivation and the idea, those three go together really well. Time, motivation, and ideas.
Guys,
But yeah, thank you for having me.
go follow NanoBunTV on Twitch and all his other things that he mentioned, and let me know what other YouTubers to interview in the future, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.